And hello, welcome to the Easy Path Project live stream. As you might have seen, tonight we'll be talking about what if everything you believe about your self worth is wrong. A lot of the problems that I think that most people just have in general with themselves, like if they have an issue, like for instance, if you're thinking about this in the context of personal development, that that you think that there's an issue that you can address like in in whatever, and you sometimes think that you've got to approach this thing by like, or okay, so let's say you think you're deficient in some aspect of confidence, and you want to build your confidence, and you think, okay, well, I've got to do something to build my confidence. But I think what you'll find just in general is that, and in fact, I even mentioned this in earlier live streams, that regardless of what you do, if you don't address like the underlying root issues of your problem, that you're going to have a lot of difficulty overcoming it, right? So it's easier, probably overall, just to start removing the crap that's making you think that way or feel that way. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Over the uh, over the last few nights, I've been talking about some of the basic introspection, the things that you have to do to kind of know where you stand and why you stand and what you stand for, and how to evaluate them and how to use this evaluation to sort of develop a plan to start solving it. And so instead of me telling you tonight about how much things are going to be great once you start digging into, really the things that might be causing some of your underlying issues, tonight we're actually going to just go down a list of items of possible reasons that you might have difficulty with the in this case tonight is why do I not, or excuse me, why do I feel like I'm not good enough? And it's a really crummy place to be, but it's also a really great place to grow from. It's like, okay, well, as you start to grow, like you'll see that like kind of the way that you perceived yourself in the past is really not correct. And once that realization kind of takes hold in your mind, it's like, okay, well, I've been holding myself back. It's like it's not a situation that I haven't been enough to deal with the situations that I'm putting myself into, or the things that I want to do or whatever. It's that you are actively working against yourself. So this will make more sense as we go along. But like I said, tonight we're talking about what if everything you believe about your self-worth is wrong. Okay. Self-doubt often stems from past experiences where we felt judged or inadequate. So many things that we're dealing with as younger adults or even older adults, or things that that we had happen to us when we were young, and for whatever reason, long, long, long beyond their expiration date, we're still hanging on to them. And like I mentioned, some of these things might have been appropriate at the time, or maybe they weren't. But you don't have to keep hanging on to them. They might have been good for that time, or they might not have been good for a time, or they might have been incorrect. And so some of the things that you might, some of the internal dialogue that you have might be conveying incorrect information or outdated information. And so we're really going to discuss that tonight about how to sort of uh, dislodge. Is that the right word? Dislodge, like these crappy things that are like stuck to you like barnacles, and let you start to get a little bit more free. Let you, feel good. Put your shoulders back, relaxed. Oh, I feel good. I feel good. Right? That's where we want to be. So another thing, another aspect of this is that social conditioning can discourage us from acknowledging our own value. I kind of got into that last night. Like a lot of the times, like the things that are going around us, like we react to them. Um, you know, there's the possibility that like they may be wrong or misguided or whatever, or that that we might be wrong or misguided or whatever. I mean, like there's a whole bunch of aspects of it. So this weird ass social conditioning stuff, it's like if you're giving any extra value, like if you're assigning value beyond just the fact that it exists or whatever, it's like I remember a situation when I was a kid, and a gentleman was talking to me about some stuff that a T-shirt that I was wearing that he felt that maybe I should understand what it was more about and everything. And so he was very kind, talking to me about it. But I liked that T-shirt, and it wasn't my opinion at the time, or is it now, to be concerned about what social convention is or whatever, or what somebody's opinion might be. I mean, it was a T-shirt of a TV show. It wasn't any, and this was in a distant past, right? So it wasn't anything offensive, and certainly not something that a child would wear. But like I said, so think of that gentleman as like society trying to tell you, hey, this is how you got to be, because this is the things that we have established and that you need to deal with. And it's like, maybe not, maybe I can be polite and play along to a point, but otherwise, no thanks. You know, I'm gonna march to my own drummer or whatever. And one of the really fun things that I think that we're going to get to at the tail end of this discussion tonight is that your growth mindset allows abilities to improve rather than remain fixed. Meaning that these things that we talk about tonight and some of the things that we uncover, it's not going to be a situation where you're just doomed. That you're doomed to suffer this forever. It's like if you've got a growth mindset, and then you're going to be able to overcome and adapt and improve and advance. I mean, you'll see what I'm talking about as we go along. But like I said, for the last 2 weeks, I've been talking about like the theory behind the Easy Path Project, and tonight we're taking like the first step down the road, down the Easy Path Project. Right? This is where you start thinking. I mean, seriously, that's all this takes. I mean, just ruminate, indulge a little mental fantasy, and start to think about these things, and then also, think about how easy it's going to be once you've identified these things to, like for instance, any of these things that we talk about tonight. There's probably somebody on the internet that is either talking about how to fix it right now, or has fixed it and will tell you how they fixed it. So all of these things are just, they're tests. They're really to see what you're made of. If you got the idea that you're going to be a superior man or whatever, then these are little baby steps tests, and you'll start building up a trail to success, starting from the easiest point and just go from there. Like I said, this does get to be a lot of fun once you allow yourself to quit carrying all that crap that is unpleasant at best, and it is unnecessary. I mean, just stop it, right? Okay, so excuse me, pardon me. I have established that Monday through Friday, I will have live streams for the Easy Path project, and hopefully, we're gonna start having some crowds of guys here that want to talk about cool stuff. And so um, we'll uh, take the conversation down that path for right now. You get to enjoy me talking about all of the theory and um, the stuff that I need to talk about to train the YouTube algorithm, basically, to about what the channel is. Anyway, so like I said, as soon as we shift from having a few viewers or no viewers at points to a great deal of viewers who are communicating with me and allowing me to communicate back, it's going to get a lot more fun. But right now, it's still pretty fun. Like I said, I'm dropping some knowledge, right? And if you guys pick it up and run with it, you're going to feel better. Also, I've made a playlist of the past live streams that I've done. So if I've done a live stream, then I'll have it added to the playlist the following day. And so you can go back and watch. Like, for instance, I've done the last 3 live streams. I'm talking about strong inner game. And so each of those 3 is available. You can watch them one after the other and learn the parts of the inner game and how we're going to improve it. Okay. So like I said, this isn't necessarily me giving answers tonight. This is me more like asking questions and kind of probing and moving around the questions that I have listed here. And yeah, take this as a chance to just a thought experiment or whatever, just to, if any of these sound like situations that you're having to deal with, and how you can um, start to work on eradicating those issues and improving as a person. Yes, I would say yes at this point, that unfortunately, regardless of whether you're the awesomest person or not or whatever, you're still sort of degraded. I know that I am. I know that like, I'm nowhere near my potential because I'm allowing things to hold me back. And so, like I said, this is a opportunity for us to both grow. Okay, so number 1, past experiences. Have you been in situations where you felt judged or inadequate before? That's a real problem. It's like, just the nature of children and how how their brains work. They take these situations where, I mean, a child by his very nature, her very nature, or whatever, needs to be corrected sometimes or being pushed in certain directions. And so if you're not gently pushed in that direction, sometimes it could be a little harsh. And so you can maybe take the wrong lesson away, or maybe it'll just stick like more persistently than you had hoped. Start thinking about what are those things that that you consider to be traumas or whatever, and start looking around them. Like, like I said, one of the little mind things that I do on a daily basis with a lot of things is like where I will step back and I will like look at things like in front of me so I can understand the totality or whatever. And once you're able to step back and say, okay, I felt bad because this happened, or I feel, kind of like, I have a diminished self worth because of this other thing that happened. It's like, okay, well, you're not feeling it like inside you. You're like seeing it. And once it's like that one step removed, like it's going to be easier to deal with because it's not you and it is not you. It's like something that's on you. And once you decide to get it off you, once you decide to extract it, that's when things start to improve. This actually gives me an opportunity. One of the things that is going to be a common theme with the Easy Path Project uh, is like forgiveness. One of the things that as a child, you're thinking about your parents being, whatever age they are. And so like you're thinking like they're adults, like they're somehow elevated above you, or that they know everything or they've done everything or whatever. But then like once you get to a certain age and you think, my parents, like they were still just children or just, slightly past being children and they had me and suddenly, I don't believe they received a handbook on, the knowledge of the universe or whatever, and they were able to use that book to raise me, and so everything was proper. No, it's like you got kids who were raised probably incorrectly, and then they have kids, and then they raise those kids sort of incorrectly, and it just goes on and on and on. And so, sometimes, your parents, I mean, they're still learning, right? And and they still make mistakes. They always make mistakes, just like every person makes mistakes. And so even sometimes, if they were kind of shitty to you or whatever, if you can find it in your heart and find it in yourself to start forgiving, um, and don't hang on to those past hurts or that past anger or any of that. I mean, that stuff is all gone and it really doesn't matter. And, one of the things that's funny, and this is not the this is kind of an odd segue, but like, I had situations in the past, that I was kind of embarrassed or whatever. I mean, you might have had those same situations, but then you feel that, everybody remembers it or whatever. And it just, so forever, you're always remembering that time, that you were supposed to give the speech on President's Day or whatever, and you messed up and, the guy out front laughed at you or whatever. And that kind of crap stings. It's like, but you're probably the only one that still remembers that. And, and once you drop that, like it's gone. And it's kind of the same thing with, like for instance, if your parents, even if they were kind of crummy or whatever in a situation, and like I said, I'm not forgiving them. I'm saying like that, you should try to forgive. But anyway, but they just saw it as a learning experience where, they evaluated how they dealt with it, and hopefully they did better. Hopefully they grew from the situation. And so, unless it was something that really stuck with them, they probably just moved on, understood the context. And so, once again, it could be that you're the only person that's carrying that. And that could be anything, like I said, work, school. So, don't let past experiences dictate today because they don't exist except in your memories. And so they're really not real. I mean, they are not real. Okay, comparisons. Do you immediately assess others' strengths and assume you fall short? Yeah, that's a self esteem and self worth issue underlying this, I would imagine. I mean, I'm not a therapist, so uh, take it for what it's worth. But, if you walk into a room or whatever and you see somebody and you say, well, that guy is better than me or whatever, okay, well, if all you can do is see him, what is it that makes you think that? Why do you have such a low self-esteem that you just instantly consider yourself inferior or whatever? Um, Yeah, I mean, that's not helpful, right? Um, Once you start feeling better about yourself, once you start developing your confidence and your authenticity and all of those items, like it'll help you stand up as a person. Once you stand up as a person, as a man, once you feel, like I said, posture. In fact, we'll discuss that here in a moment again. But put your shoulders back, your head up, your kind of nose up a little bit, even, and just start to feel what it's like to feel good about yourself, and then understand that you know you, you don't you don't compare unfavorably or whatever to other people. Number three, self-perception. Are you overly critical of yourself without seeing your true value? I discussed this absolutely awesome, like absolutely seamlessly perfect for you to get home and to sit down and start reflecting on the day. So you're misperceiving the situation if you think it was a bad day because one thing or two things or three things or whatever went bad out of a million, right? It's the same thing. It's like if you do have a problem with if you're like an introvert or whatever, and I'm not saying it's a problem, I'm saying if you're here watching this video, you probably want to get past that. But so like you put excessive value on being a on being an introvert or whatever, and it like kind of overshadows all of the other good things about you. And, and that's wrong. I mean, it's just plain wrong. It's like, so once you get an even understanding of how you compare to others and how you don't necessarily have to be critical of yourself, right? In the sense that it's like you would be beating yourself up about something. I mean, you can recognize, okay, I have an issue or whatever, and I need to deal with it. But don't let that thing like overwhelm like your understanding that like overall like you're a pretty cool cat, right? And you just need to kind of sand off the rough edges or whatever. Number four, fear of rejection. Does the worry of not fitting in make you doubt yourself? Some of these things, like I said, it's a situation where I sort of have to try to think what you might be thinking. Like I don't have a fear of rejection or whatever, or I don't worry about how I fit in or how I don't fit in. I mean, I'm Michael, right? And so things are the way that I mean, like sometimes I have trouble holding my ego together, you know. What was it that Rorschach said from The Watchmen? It's not that I'm in here with you; it's that you're in there with me. Um, yeah, so trying to reconcile that with not fitting in, I find that difficult. I mean, but once again, if you start feeling good about yourself and you start allowing yourself to be yourself, then that won't be an issue anymore. So find out what it is. Like, why do I feel that I'm not going to fit in? And, what are the root causes of that? And then address those. Social conditioning. Have you been taught to downplay your achievements or worth? It's kind of funny, like if you follow the NFL football, back in the day, like maybe 10 or 15, 20 years ago, I'm not talking about forever ago, but when you scored a touchdown or whatever, it was supposed to be a very, 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 uh, very muted celebration. Maybe spike the ball, maybe point at the stands or whatever. But it was pretty calm. Nowadays, they have the entire team doing little performing monkey routines, and it's really kind of ridiculous. But if you think about what we're talking about here in that kind of situation, it's like in the past you might have had a situation where you were taught that you had to hold it together when if you accomplish something, or if you get a good grade on a test, or you do something well at work, or you won a trophy in a sporting competition or whatever. But the reality, and like I said yesterday about the earth plus paradigm, it's like nowadays the world is a little bit more open to celebration after winning, or after scoring, or after whatever. It's like you don't have to hold it together like a black hole or whatever. Like, you can sort of let your freak flag fly. um, also, people give a lot of crap to that TV show that was on The Big Bang Theory, that supposedly it was all making fun of nerds or whatever. But what it did was it kind of exposed those uh, people, those types of people who actually I kind of enjoy them a lot. Um, the people that can just be into something, and like be into it because they're into it, and they couldn't care less about what anybody else said. So, as a result of that, like, people understand that, people are on the spectrum, and that they might have issues with, being an introvert, or they might be outcasts, or they might not fit in, or whatever the situation might be. But this show, like, gave people sort of an idea of, hey, these people exist. And now that they exist, it's sort of like, okay, well, that's okay. It's like, come on in, brother. Like, you know, we're all a big happy family here. So don't get bent out of shape. Like, if you know, you've been taught something in the past, how to think about how you fit in or whatever. It's like, no, it's like, you're an adult, you can do an adult sort of thing now, as long as, like I said, you kind of hold it together a little bit. Don't go too crazy. The next one would be perfectionism. Do you feel like you have to be flawless to be accepted? Nobody is perfect. I mean, I understand the idea of having to be perfect. Um, when I started these live streams, I actually put it off about 6 weeks longer than I had expected, simply because I wanted to get all of my lessons just so, and all of my slides just so, and my video set up just so. And I wanted to get it all perfect. And so it took me 6 weeks. And here I am, finding myself uh, 10 live streams in, and none of the plans that I had um, for the uh, for the themes or the content of these live streams is turning out to be what I expected. So it's like, I wanted to make it perfect, and then once I got moving, I found out that I was trying to perfect something that didn't need to be perfected. I just needed to start moving, and so in the situations like where you feel that that you got to be perfect, that you got to be flawless. You got to be funny. You got to be good looking. You got to be all these different things. You just got to be, on point on everything. And that's like, no, it's like, try to be, put some effort into it if you think it'll benefit you, and, uh, and go from there. But don't let it like slow you down or stop you, because, Like I said, I'm just 6 weeks behind now, and, all that working to be perfect got me nowhere. So, for instance, if you wanna go out, into the world and, live this different life that you're aiming towards, um, don't wait until you get perfect and then go out. It's like go out, work in the world as you become perfect. Okay, imposter syndrome. Do you feel like you don't deserve to be in certain spaces? And in case you don't know the exact definition, I actually had to look it up myself just to make absolutely sure. But it's an internalized fear of being a fraud despite your competence and success. Yeah, once again, a lot of people think that they have to be perfect. That even though they've done hard work and they've been promoted into a situation, or they've done well in a class or a whatever or anything, and then you sit there and like kind of have these nagging doubts. It's like, okay, well, am I really supposed to be here? And it's like, well, there is the possibility that things could kind of go south, but you know, deal with it, right? I mean, and what if it doesn't go south? What if it goes awesome? Hey, that's a possibility too. I mean, we just discussed that you are competent and that you are successful. So, I mean, why would you have the impression that something's going to go bad? It's just as likely, or actually even more likely, it's going to go good. Okay, number 8, body language and self-preservation, or excuse me, self-preservation, no doubt, right? Body language and self-presentation. Does your posture or expression reinforce insecurity? Now that is an absolute like I'm trying to think of something funny to say, but that funny thing I was going to say is sort of R-rated, so I'm going to try to attenuate it to be a PG lesson. Um, Girls are not turned on with guys with slouched shoulders and bent over necks, like they look at their phone all day and they're trying to minimize themselves and kind of hide. So nobody, whatever. Ugh. The girls don't like that. Like, you sit there and you hear about Chad and Tyrone and the alpha male and all that. The reason that, those guys, do as well as they do or whatever is because they present themselves differently. They stand up tall, they stand up straight, they pull their head back, they're looking around, they're making eye contact. It's like, if you have trouble with doing those things, first of all, figure out why, you know? I mean, it's not that big of a deal to start improving your posture. There's little, um, they're not even exercises, but it's just as simple as standing up against a wall and putting your hands up and your shoulders up against the uh, the wall to improve your posture. And I mean, just as something as simple as that, just the way that you walk, or if you wear scroungy clothes, wear something a little bit nicer. And it's like that little tiny input will achieve like fantastic results. And they might be, they're cumulative, right? So they might be small at the beginning, but then they get better. But once you go out and start, people start reacting to you because you're presenting yourself different. You're standing up straight. You're dressing well. Um, Maybe you went to the gym and you got a little bit better body, so you're feeling kind of swaggy or whatever. Yeah, that's going to pay off a lot. It's not hard, you know. God forbid that anybody tell somebody to lift a heavy weight or something. Um, but yeah, um, and that's therapeutic too. Like lifting heavy weights, you get, if you do have like residual anger from any of these things we're talking about, work them out with the iron. Like take it out in the gym. Like you'll feel better, I promise. Okay, inner dialogue. What kinds of thoughts run through your mind in those moments? a lot of people, their self-talk, their inner dialogue is crap. Like they're always saying, I'm not this, I'm not that, I can't do this, I shouldn't do this, you know, wrong, 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 wrong. It's like, I don't understand, why that has to exist. I mean, it might be I mentioned self-preservation earlier. Maybe that's what I was like channeling the idea that, that you're protecting yourself or something. But, if you're constantly um, talking down to yourself or, allowing uh, poor thinking to dissuade you from doing or trying things, like it's actually doing you a disservice. It's like, stop it. It's like, find out why these things are saying it. One of the times, or a lot of the times, when I'm dealing with stuff like this, it's just I kind of try to change the way that I um, that I say it to myself. It's like, okay, well, I was this or whatever. I was lazy or whatever, but now I'm productive, or I'm on my way to being productive, or I will be productive, or I should be productive, like in the future if I'm doing these steps or whatever. So just a little change in the way that you speak to yourself, and one of the things I discussed about NLP, it's something that the speaker Tony Robbins used to use a lot back when he was first getting started, and it's called a pattern interrupt. And actually, it's a really good way to think about, like, for instance, if you have a cat, and the cat wants to jump up on the counter. Well, you're standing there with a water bottle. Each time the cat jumps up on the counter, you spray it, and like you interrupt its pattern. Like so now its new pattern is jumping up and then getting sprayed with water and jumping down. And it's like, if you're talking down to yourself, or if you're saying bad things to yourself, or if you're entertaining uh, poor thinking, stop. Use a pattern interrupt, like consciously. Like I said, once you start to kind of pull back, and then you'll see your thoughts going through your mind. It won't be something that's happening to you. It's something that's happening, and then you decide how you're going to deal with that. Um, that slight disassociation. I talk about, and I will talk about this more. But I mean, it does help to think about life sort of as a game or as a simulation. Um, just because it does allow you to step back and you say, okay, well, and I do not know what those, I think, what is it, first person shooter games or whatever, or maybe it's second or third, whatever, where you can like see the guy. You're not the guy shooting, you can see the guy. And so that's kind of where you want to back up to that perspective. And then like you'll see the world happening to this guy. And then you don't necessarily have to think about like this internal dialogue or whatever, these things like, that are actually working on you. It's more like, okay, it's there's this guy here, and then there's this stuff here, and they don't have to that, I wish I could explain that better. I mean, but I'll work on it. And hopefully you're a bunch of smart guys, and so you're digging what I'm getting at. But just change the way that you think, and don't allow yourself to think poor thoughts. Like, just stop. Okay. Number 10, unrealistic standards. Are you holding yourself to standards no one else expects you to meet? Yeah, sometimes, like, we just discussed it a moment ago about perfectionism. It's like, nobody's perfect. Everybody's, stumbling down this path just like you are. And so, don't hold that against yourself if you're if you're not graceful like a swan or whatever, you don't look like Fred Astaire dancing or whatever. It's like you can look kind of clumsy, like that guy. Uh, um, was it Digital Underground, the Humpty Dance? Yeah, that's a old hip hop song. So you ought to check that out. It's kind of funny anyway. But he talks about his dance that he does, like where it seems like he's got broken legs, and so it's kind of clumsy and kind of ridiculous looking. He's like, "Well, I don't care, because I'm on the dance floor and I'm having a good time." Okay, well, just think about your life like that. It's like I don't have to, you know, be perfect or whatever, but I'm in this life, and I've got this opportunity to have a good time. So, hey, let's have a good time. Anyway, so what do you think about this? Like I mentioned, nobody's really stepped up and said hi yet. I see people coming in, sticking around for a while, and I'm still waiting for that very first person to say hello. Anyway, I want to find out what you're thinking about this. I mean, like, does it make sense what I'm saying? Just to observe these things in your thought patterns, and just by how you can improve just by identifying them. I think that'll be the very first step to the path that you want to be on, is just identify them. Anyway, but yeah, definitely leave a comment, say hi, tell me what you think, tell me what your goals are with this, or where you stand, where you want to be, and yeah, let's get you there. Like I said, the time is coming when I'm going to start counting on you guys to help me get through some stuff I've got to get through. So this is going to be a team effort, and we're all going to get ahead together. Anyway, and also, if you know anybody that uh, needs to hear this, uh, needs this information, please share the link to the video. Let them know. I've got a playlist with all of my old or the past live streams. Plus, I've got some videos and stuff around. So yeah, definitely tell them what we're doing here. Invite them to join in and work with us to get the life we're looking for. Okay, so this will be number 11: validation seeking. Do you feel like you need external approval to confirm your worth? Once again, low self-esteem and low self-worth. Like the idea that you need to earn somebody's approval or to earn their affection or their praise or whatever. It's like I mentioned that Dr. Robert Glover in the book No More Mr. Nice Guy, and he talks about that. Like I said, I'm the exact opposite of that. Um, a nice guy would be a guy who does all of these things, um, up front before he ever has this opportunity to, like, form a relationship with a girl, in the hopes that if he gives her enough, or if he does enough stuff, that he can earn her affection, or he can get a relationship out of what he's trying to do. And it's like, no, 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 no. Anyway, but that's the same thing. It's like, do you have that nice guy syndrome? It's like, do you feel that you've got to like earn people's or not earn respect or whatever? Yeah, because that's a weird little path to go down. Is like building respect, but just like their acceptance or their um, attention or any of these things. Like if you're having to be a performing monkey, like it's not manly, right? I mean, like when we talk once again about these alphas or these sigmas or these chads or these tyrones or whatever, they're not like going, here, baby, I brought you flowers, or I take you to some super nice place for dinner or whatever. Now, give me love. It's like, no, that's not how it happens. So don't go down that path. Like if you feel that you need to do something to get something back from somebody else, figure out why that is, and then move away from that idea. Number 12, strengths versus weaknesses. Are you focusing more on what you lack rather than what you bring? This kind of refers back to the point that I made a little while ago. It's like, you have everything go right in your day except for one or two things. And then you say it was a bad day because those one or two things um, went bad. Well, it's always, or not always, it's also the situation, where it could be possible that, you have a situation where you can't approach a girl, or where you can't feel confident with situation or whatever. And so you allow that one aspect of your personality or of your situation, to cause you to think that, uh, that you're doomed or whatever. It's like that's kind of uh, overblowing the situation or whatever. It's like it's not that bad. Like you just misunderstanding. It's like if you actually just sit down with a piece of paper and draw a little X or whatever, and on one side of the line, on the left side you put your strengths, and on the right side you put your weaknesses, and you probably, if you were being honest, your strengths would be a lot longer line of items. So, that just should give you the confidence that's like, okay, well, now I've got this tiny little uh, list of things that are holding me back. And now that I'm thinking about it, now that I've got them right here on this piece of paper, right here on this list, it's like I can identify them and start to eradicate them, start to feel better. Cultural influences. How do societal or family expectations shape your confidence? I touched on this earlier. It's like, sometimes parents, or like in this example, culture or whatever, but it's like, your family shapes who you are, your culture shapes who you are. And sometimes, I don't come from any of these cultures or families. So once again, I'm having to extrapolate from things I've picked up or whatever. But you do have to kind of learn with them, or how to navigate within those societies, or in the family or whatever. Like, if you want to be a fine upstanding member of that community, sometimes you got to play the game, and you got to reconcile playing the game and being who you want to be. So it's a like a you got to thread that needle or whatever. But the idea is that, that your personal growth and your mental health comes first. And, sometimes it could be a situation where you just have to pull back from the things that are holding you back, if it's family or culture or whatever that's holding you back. It's like, identify that, and then take steps to fix it. Hopefully you can hold it all together, but if not, sometimes you need to move on, or you need to alter the conditions that you're living in. Like I said, it's a tough one, and I don't have any personal experience with that, so I do not know. But for example, one of the gentlemen that came to me to learn how um, to get a wife, he was looking for a wife, and he had come from a religious background that severely limited the interaction between males and females, and in fact, to the point that they almost had to be chaperoned when they were together. And so, he was uh, in his 50s or something or whatever, and he was just at that point. He had made up his mind finally to get beyond that, but he had to leave. And once he did that, then the next step was, to remove the conditioning, the things that had led him to believe. Okay, number 14, fear of being judged. Do you assume others are scrutinizing you when they might not be? Like I said, one of the things that you have to understand about like other people is they're more like you than not. They might have characteristics that are different, but the underlying machinery, like humanity, um, is pretty similar. And so, if a girl, for instance, that you're interested in or whatever, but you might, have a couple of considerations and a couple of things that you're concerned about and things that you might think that, are really reasonable to hold you back. But, she might have the same things. In fact, that's going to be a discussion that we have coming up fairly soon about on one of my white knight conversations is about the considerations that women have um, about even getting into a relationship with a guy. Like there's, probably 20 or 30 reasons or whatever I can list why, you know, regardless of who or what you are, once again, you might be Chad or Tyrone, but if she's not able to reconcile these other things, it doesn't matter who you are. And one of those things that's a problem for women is that they might also uh, have fear of being judged or being held up to a certain standard. And so, she might be dealing with the same internal crisis that you are, just, from the feminine perspective. And so, don't be thinking that, if a girl uh, or anybody, like in any situation or whatever, that somebody is judging you or thinking about you or whatever, because it's just as likely that they're thinking about their own stuff and they're kind of grinding on the crap that's holding them back because they haven't gotten to the point yet where they're going to fix it, or they are not far enough along on the path of fixing it to where they'd feel comfortable. So um, don't assume that everybody's like looking at you and thinking about you and you know like, yeah, they're not judging you. Like most people, if they notice you at all, because they got the 27 things they got to think about in their head at any given time, plus their cell phone, plus they got their face stuck in Instagram or whatever. It's like, no, you know, you could probably, what is it, those videos, like where stuff like people are on the street or whatever, and somebody comes through with just like an absolutely ridiculous um, outfit or whatever, or nude even or whatever. And like nobody notices because they were either talking or looking at their phones or looking at traffic or whatever. And it's like people are oblivious. It's like you know, you could be invisible like if you want. It's like, or you can start on this little path to making yourself feel better and start to become invisible. And then we start getting into the peacocking and whatnot, and then that's definitely a judgment thing. And I'm sorry, I'm getting back into the PUA stuff. Some of that stuff is really applicable to what we're going to be talking about. So this is a foreshadowing discussions that we're going to be having. Okay, number 15, previous failures. Are you letting past mistakes define your present self-worth? You were, younger and stupider or whatever, cut yourself some slack. Um, if you have a situation where you made a mistake, or something didn't go like you planned, like you evaluate what happened. You make a new plan, or you have a new idea of how things are going to go forward and then move forward, right? You don't hold on to that crap from the past because it's not real. It doesn't exist, like only in your mind. You think about like hypnotism or even some forms of therapy or stuff where they're actually able to attenuate the value that things are in your head. And it's like, you can do that for yourself. It's like, once you decide to stop carrying that crap, then it'll no longer burden you. Social anxiety. Could underlying anxiety be fueling these thoughts? Once again, all of these things are, probably have some underlying issue. And so if you're anxious or, feeling insecure or whatever, you're going to have to address it. And, by identifying it, okay, well, now hey, I've got this situation. I'm anxious because of this, or I feel this way because of that, or whatever, and start addressing like the root causes. Number 17, expectation versus reality. Are you imagining worst case scenarios that may never happen? This actually comes up with me surprisingly often, like this quote that I'm about to share with you. But Mark Twain, the writer Mark Twain, made the comment, I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which have never happened. Like you sit there and let yourself, like let your mind just start running. You're imagining all these situations, and if you're coming from a place where you're allowing yourself to have poor thinking or whatever, you're just naturally going to be coming at it from a sort of a negative standpoint. And so if that's the case, then you will find that you're imagining the worst case scenario. It's like, okay, well, except we've already established that most things go well. Most things happen like they're supposed to. It's like, some things go kind of crummy. Some things kind of could be better. Okay, well, let's work on those things. It's not like we have to work on the 97% of things that work absolutely flawlessly, like a Swiss watch every single day of our lives. It's like these little teeny tiny things. It's like, okay, well, they're so isolated, like it'll be very easy for us to address them. And it's not hard. Like I said, the very first step is just understanding that they exist, and that you're bringing them to mind. Hidden assumptions. Are you assuming others are inherently more capable or confident? Um, if you're coming from this again from a standpoint of negativity or whatever, then it's natural that you would kind of diminish who or what you are. And that's not necessarily true. You might be a person, very confident, or excuse me, that we discussed it earlier, right? So you're competent and you're successful. Okay, well, if you're competent and successful, at these things or whatever, then why would you think that someone else is more competent than you, or uh, more capable than you, more confident or more capable? It's like it's not the case. Like once again, it all starts at the bottom. It's like, okay, we'll find out why you feel that way. You know, um, every single night for this week, I think I've discussed the Home Math channel on YouTube. But you know, he realized that the very first thing that he could move forward on, and the easiest, was his body. He hit the gym, and he built himself up to having a smoking hot body, and started getting girls that would never have even noticed him in the past, and he was like able to have relationships with them. It's like his mindset changed simply because he took care of some limitations, some stuff that had been holding him back. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, well, once you start getting rid of those things, you'll find that whereas in the past you might have felt, okay, well, others are more capable or more confident or whatever, that's really not the case. And you just move forward from there. Self-compassion. Are you offering yourself the kindness you would give a friend? Um, I've talked about this lots and lots lately too. Like people beat ourselves up. Like we expect ourselves to be perfect or to be, to get everything right and to do it well and, optimally and whatever. And, you know, y- you don't hold your friends to those same standards or whatever, you know, like if your buddy made a mistake on a test or whatever, you wouldn't call him any idiot. You idiot, you're always doing that. Like, no, you'd never ever in a million years do that, unless you were just absolutely off the rails. It's like, so why would you do it to yourself? He's like, yeah, okay, well, I realize I didn't study enough or I didn't study correctly or whatever. I made this mistake or whatever, but it's just because I wasn't prepared. It was not a character flaw that I made the mistake or whatever. It's just that something went wrong or whatever. I mean, seriously, cut yourself some slack. Like, you don't have to be perfect. Nobody expects you to be perfect. You know, let's just settle for like improving right now, right? Like that you're getting better and feeling better. Have I messed this up? What have I done here? Holy cow, I've been going like 4 deep or whatever and forgot to change the slide. How funny. Fix this in post, right? What a joke. Okay, so that was self-compassion. Like I said, quit beating yourself up. Like you don't deserve it. It's like you know, you come out of your birthing place or whatever, and you just don't know, right? And you grow up and you're learning, but you're not going to always be perfect. So just you know hold yourself to a high standard. Um, and if that high standard is that you're improving, that you're trying to improve or whatever, that's good enough for right now. you know Later on, when we got all these things pegged, then we'll think about being perfect or whatever and holding ourselves to that standard. For right now, uh, you're just a recovering uh, person that is on the path back to where they want to be. And finally, growth mindset. Do you see confidence as something that can be developed rather than something you're born with? Like I mentioned in the one of the very first slides, you know, you you have the option to do. Let's see, what was this? Yeah, your growth mindset allows abilities to improve rather than remain fixed. It's like as long as you hold on to the option of things getting better, like then there is the option of things getting better. And, just having that opening, that your mind open to the possibility and that you kind of orient yourself towards growth. And like I said, all of this is just a situation where as you've gone through your life, you've had to deal with these things. And sometimes you either didn't deal with them, correctly or whatever, or you're still kind of dealing with them. And it's like some of the stuff is just outdated. Evaluate what works for you or what is important to you, like what really matters. And I think that if you're using the growth mindset lens, and you can see, okay, well, I had these situations to deal with in the past, but I have the ability now to move forward beyond them and kind of leave them in the past. I have something that I'm saving for when I'm old and gray, like on my deathbed, to remind me of something I had to deal with. And, I'm going to see how I'm going to fix it or whatever. But like I've got this point out in the future that I'm going to be able to look back, and that's really kind of where if you think about it, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna reach this place where I feel really good, and then I can look back and say, okay, well, this is what I had to go through to get there, and if anything, it's going to make you feel better. You're going to feel awesome that you were so much stronger than you ever imagined, and that you're able to recover from what was holding you back and really strive. I mean, it's gonna be fun. Like I said, it's not really hard either. It takes some introspection. It takes going through lists like this and see how you can apply the ideas. But just once you recognize them, it's going to be a lot easier. And finally, we're wrapping it up. Confidence is not about being perfect. It's about showing up as your authentic self. Your authentic self is the person like who you are when you're born, and those things that are piling up on you, the disappointments or the anger or the hurts or the all that kind of stuff. It's like trash that you just got to take out. It's like sweeping up like a dusty cabin or whatever. You just got to get rid of all that trash, and and then you'll have a nice cabin, right? I mean, that's where we're headed here. It's like, you know, you're an awesome person carrying around a bunch of crap that is not useful and is not helpful, and it's got to go. And so, start taking out the trash. Okay, and like I said, I do have live streams Monday through Friday around 7:30 p.m. Central. So definitely show up, hang out, take part. Feel free to say hi. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you want to think about, what you want to talk about. Let's do it. Also, um, watch the replays and the live stream playlist. I've got those there and got a lot of interesting information and helpful stuff to get you started. Okay, so we're done for the week. So thank you for coming, and thanks for hanging out. And hopefully you're finding some of this stuff to be useful. Hopefully you can start to apply it over the weekend or whatever and start feeling better. I mean, it's cumulative. You start feeling better, do a little bit more, you feel a little bit better, and suddenly like you're feeling pretty groovy, and then like just it gets the momentum, and it just gets better from there. Anyway, so that's the plan, and I'll show up Monday night, and I think the plan right now is to maybe do another one of these with another couple ideas, like why you might be holding yourself back, or things that might need to go, and we can help you identify them. Anyway, but with that being said, thank you for hanging out tonight, and we'll see you Monday night. Take it easy.